All right, guys. After a time zone snafu, Lulz is ready. We are here to break our silence about Elon Musk threatening to buy Twitter. We have DraftKings botching the USFL contest over the weekend and everything else you've come to know and love about Lulz. Let's do it.
Does he think? I think he thinks this. He thinks this is a go. Vegas Dave thinks this is a go.
Hot naked girls doing yoga.
What?
Why don't you just win like a man?
Random.org. Type in 1 for yes, 2 for no, and let the DFS gods pick for you.
And I'm absolutely begging you not to dupe us. Please don't dupe us.
Brian, I was legitimately worried about you because you are never late to a show. Ever. And so when you didn't show up, I was like, either something happened to Brian or we had a scheduling mishap.
Robbed at the point of gun.
Yeah.
Car accident.
So, I'm slightly offended. We were, like Swolecast, we're always trying to schedule our stuff and we're throwing around central time zones, all of this, but we do specify the time zone. But Brian, you just so casually said 3:30 tomorrow. And in my narcissistic, myopic view, I thought surely that meant 3:30 Eastern.
Yeah, lesson learned, huh? When you're dealing with a double coastal elite like Pete, just assume it's whatever coast he's on in that specific moment.
It's true. It's true. Is that a new hat? I don't think I've seen you wear that hat.
I have like 3 of these. They're just no logo hats.
I like those. I have some of those too, but people get like tilted when you wear no logo hats. I don't know why that is. People want logos.
Those are the kind of people I want to tilt.
You want to alienate
Yeah.
them.
Why don't you have your favorite team on? Wear your jerseys.
Eric said, "What are we drinking?" Was I drinking something? I don't think. What are you drinking?
Water.
Hey, Eric, it's 4:30 on the East Coast, and dare I say 3:30 Central Time Zone. Right. Willis donating $5 to rep Central Time Zone. I will not stand for this.
Real America, Willis. I saw Willis on Club Top Shot last night. He's rocking a beard now, looking good. I like Willis the beard.
Rocks a mean beard. Yep. What's new with you? It's been a little while since we did a show. We took last week off. We were all tuckered out from our big UFC live stream, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, I haven't talked to you in a little bit.
Yeah, that live stream was fun. I think the next one, if we ever do another one, we should do the 3:00 start one.
Yeah, to go for 9 hours.
No. But you could do the main events instead of starting at 8. We start at 5 or something. And it's over by 10 or 11.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, it was good to have. We had a fun crew for that one. The vibes were good, and then RBX. I got pretty drunk at the end. RBX kind of just took the wheel and took us to the end of the show.
He wasn't even scheduled to show up either. He just, by popular demand, we had to bring him on.
Did you say though that ever since then he's been hounding you to get back on the show already?
Yeah, he wants to get back on Lulz.
He's
like, the people love me.
And of course, we made him a beautiful highlight clip, touring around his house. Of course, he loves us.
That was a pretty funny clip, though.
It was a good clip.
That would be a pretty fun series, actually. A little DFS/gambling bro crib.
Maybe, that's the thing. We have different rules on here of how you can come on the show. One is win a Millie Maker. Maybe the second one is you have to give us a tour of your home.
Okay. I'm down.
You just got to walk around with your earphone and show us all the nooks and crannies.
Could be any type of home. Doesn't matter.
It seems like people love the MMA hang. I mean, maybe Brian and I can, every once in a while, maybe we'll flex a Wednesday show to a UFC hang. Maybe we could do something like that.
Yeah, I'm down.
See. You were watching Club Top Shot last night. Andrew wants to know, and feel free to ask. I'm kind of offended you haven't asked yet, but what do you think of my Moonbird, Brian? I caught that part, and then when Willis popped on. Yeah.
And I think I came on right after the Moonbird thing. So you were like showing your bags, right?
I was showing my feathers. Yeah, exactly. Do you know the like TLDR on the Moonbirds?
No.
So some very hyped NFT project, because of the demand, they did it as a raffle as opposed to just kind of having a gas war for it. And so you had to have 2.5 ETH in a wallet and then, sync it to your Discord and Twitter or whatever. They apparently had bots to prevent people from multi-accounting. I don't know how well that worked. But anyways, I had about a 1 in 4 chance. I think ultimately I hit it for 2.5 ETH. And now the floor as of like right now is almost 24 ETH. So it's been a pretty good NFT to get in on so far.
Are you gonna let the keep rolling the dice? Are you gonna cash in? What are you gonna do?
This was the big debate last night. Yeah, Jack and Pete and MBL all wanted me to sell, and I still think there was meat on the bone. Last night they were trying to get me to sell at 20. We're almost to 24 right now, and I still think there's some meat on the bone. So
those guys would have cost you what, 12?
Just 12K.
Yeah, nothing to those guys, nothing to those high rollers, but
no, they wiped their ass with that. But for me, I mean, these opportunities come around only once in a lifetime, and I got to milk this for all it's worth.
Oh man, 50. What about 50?
That 50 sounds like a real nice number to me.
Well, let's go 100. Would you have any regrets?
I don't think so. I don't think I would have regrets. The one NFT that we've sold that I have regrets on is that initial punk. One, monetarily, because the guy flipped it like a week later for literally double the price that he bought it from us. So that stung. But two, I had made what I consider one of the best videos that I've made, my why I bought a crypto punk video.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had like the whole thing with all of NFTs generally boils down to narratives and the stories and the things that people tell about them. And I feel like I had told a pretty good story about that specific NFT. And then I let it go. So that's the only regret I've ever had. And yes, I don't have too many other hard regrets as far as selling stuff.
Okay.
But
well, good luck to you. That'll be fun. That'll be fun to you can probably get some content out of it too. So like if it goes up or down a little bit, like at least you get the content out of it.
I already told the guy exactly, because I can either dunk on the Club Top Shot guys for telling me to sell it too early, or everyone can make fun of me for holding on to it as it goes to zero. I did tell the guys in the NGMI chat that when the floor hits 30 ETH, I'll make a little video. I haven't promised on what that video would entail, but yeah. So, we're enjoying the Moonbird ride for now.
Beautiful. What's kind of interesting is NFTs have cooled, right? That's fair to say. NFTs are not nearly as possible as they were probably like a year and a couple months ago, or maybe a year ago, and it's still going up. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and that was part of what I was saying on the show last night is, for a while it was like fish in a barrel. Whatever project came out, it would pump, you mint it, you sell it for 3x an hour later. It was just like rinse, repeat. Now people are being a little bit more choosy and doing a little bit more due diligence on what teams and projects they actually think might have some solid fundamental underpinnings to further drive price action. And so you see people, I think, we use the term blue chip loosely, but anything that's a perceived blue chip, people are more willing to consolidate into what they think is a winner, as opposed to a spray and pray approach like you were referencing from the summer, where it was just like, it doesn't matter, you can mint it.
Yeah, we had a private bid on one of our Top Shot Cosmics over the weekend or whenever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did that come about? I think it was it Jack. Oh yeah. So MBL was hunting around. We referenced this briefly last night. He was hunting around for a CP3 Cosmic. I think he thought they were like mispriced relative to some other Cosmics, and he had made an offer to Jack, but then we looked up how much we had paid for it and didn't want to sell it at such a loss.
Especially when I'm going to divide it up. Don't we have 4 people in on that one? Or is
I
it
think
only
Karane's in on that one too.
Yeah, and then when you divide it up by 4, it's like, I'd rather just eat it. I'd rather just eat the losses.
I know. It is funny how I don't know if it's pride, if it's stubbornness. It is hard to, it's like you waited this long on it. Why not just wait a little longer, unless you need liquidity, in which case go for it.
he had like a great season this year. Suns are like we're like favored to win it all, and like none of that stuff. Jokic wins back-to-back MVPs. None of that narrative stuff mattered, and we nailed it all.
That's what's so crazy about our cosmic buys. I mean, like we look back at all of those buys that we were collectively making. Obviously, the Jokic, the CP3. We went in on some Ja Morant's MGLE too. Like we hit like the most zeitgeisty NBA players possible over these past 2 years, and don't get paid off on it.
I mean, let's say CP3. Let's say Booker got hurt, but let's just say they win. They win it all. He retires, right? So it's like his retirement year, high note. I bet it doesn't matter at all.
No,
it's crazy.
It's honestly insane to what would have felt like a buy low on the 2-time NBA MVP, and we can't get the moments to be worth a damn. It is what
insane.
it is.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Kevin says, skip all the bullshit. I want Brian's USFL cash shell. So I will say this, Brian, this is how sick. On Monday night, I was bored. Lauren is away for a couple days. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to play USFL Showdown on Monday night, whatever. Do you know who I see in those streets? Fucking Whistlesgowoo grinding Monday night USFL Showdown with only 10K up top. Wow. I mean, what is going on with this dude?
It must be really easy for him to just click a couple buttons and enter. That's got to be it. It's just he's set up for NFL Showdown and with a couple buttons, pulls in Osmo's data, 2 buttons, and he's done.
Because I'm looking at all the people in that contest, and you got the ETR guys, you got the niche sports grinders, all the XFL guys, and then it Whistles. Like Whistles is the only, more whatever mainstream DFS guy in there, and I'm just like, you can't even escape Whistles in a Monday night showdown slate.
He plays a lot. He plays a lot of sports. He's playing MLB again. He's in there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about that, and again, there's not even, I think ETR was the only site that did ownership projections for that Monday showdown. I know there were projections on, Osmo, Run the Sims everywhere, but I mean, there's not a lot to work with. Like if Whistles waited, I assume in the coming weeks, we're going to have better data, better information. And then he just like automates his process simply. But there was a little bit of a hand builder's touch needed, I think, for that slate first time these teams had played. But it's just, I'm like, how does how does Whistles have the brain power in the time to even tackle this?
I bet he didn't do that. I bet he just download, upload projections, button click, enter.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I could be wrong, but I doubt he's like reading all the ETR and Osmo articles on Showdown or whoever else is pumping that stuff out and then adjusting projections based on that. It would surprise me. Maybe he is. I doubt it though.
We need to say bye to Eric. I believe he's saying he has dart night. He has a raffle at a bar in dart night tonight. It is heading out. Peace out, Eric. Thank you for joining us.
Good luck.
Do you think you're going to get in the USFL streets?
No, probably not at this point, right? Like, I don't know. They're at 25K up top in the big one this weekend, right?
Yeah, I went from 100K to 25K.
Man, they royally fucked that up. I was laughing my ass off. Sorry, guys, but I was. It was just one catastrophe after another, and I'm like, I tweeted out, this is all Levitan's fault. I thought that was everyone's giving him credit for all this happening. It's like, well, then it's his fault for it falling apart.
Yeah, and I know we've recapped this on a few shows, but for people who haven't heard yet, the very quick TLDR on it is they gave out 20,000 plus free tickets into the big 100K up top contest over the weekend. So it ended up filling on Friday. A bunch of people with their single tickets essentially filled it. And anyone who had waited to actually get into the contest that wanted to ended up getting shut out. And then to double down on that, they revealed all of the ownership immediately on all of the players, even if their games hadn't started. So the entire contest, I don't know if you could draw up more of a disaster for how that slate unfolded.
Did you get into the big one?
So what happened? Yeah, so listen to how fucked up this was. So they were sending out the tickets, and so people started alerting me, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is filling fast." And if you had already registered, so I had put like a dummy one in, just to have it. I was able to go to my lineups page or like for future contests, and I was able to manually enter one by one, like keep adding them. But if you were, say, you wanted to go hop in it and you hadn't pre-registered, it would just didn't exist in the lobby. Like I messaged Levitan and I was like, what the fuck is going on with this? He's like, I can't even see it in the lobby. And it was only if you had a dummy entry were you able to add them. So I'm sitting there adding one manually, and I just stopped at 50. Like I think I was going to do 100 otherwise, but I was like, I can't even do this just one by one. It was such a shit show.
Was there an official reason for the amount of tickets they gave away?
No, I mean, basically, as I understand it, they made a mistake. I think they probably wanted to give out X amount of tickets and they sent it to a larger list.
They fat fingered it.
They fat fingered it. Because it's not their intention to block out the people who actually want to register. You use that as a last ditch measure, right? To kind of fill it in a graceful way.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like maybe they fat fingered it. Like maybe they could put like 5%, and the guy put fat fingered another number. Clicked on there or something. Who knows? That's crazy.
I disappointed the hand builder bros. I would have, if the hand builder bros knew all about. So I went full MME bro for those 50 lineups that I registered. And man, I am out of practice because I can hand build NFL lineups and I can MME showdown lineups pretty well. But I am not a good classic slate MME bro. It took me a long time fiddling with my stacks and my exposures and getting all the things that say you can only make 26 lineups with these constraints and all of this. So I am a fraud opto bro. I'll tell you that.
That's an interesting. If you guys are still like deep into like reading who's going to get the targets, who's going to get the share of the rushes and stuff like that, I could see still doing it, but it also looked like to me like the projections were way off too. Was that like guys who are 40% owned like didn't even play or barely played or something like that?
Yeah, and I mean the first game, it was like all the top scores were sub 2% owned. The backup quarterback on one of the teams was the highest scoring quarterback. There were timeshares for a bunch of the quarterbacks, full on platoons, the alpha wide receivers, having 30, percent snaps, just completely. And because all you have to work on, right, is like the depth charts, where they were drafted and maybe some of their previous stats, but everyone was flying blind. I mean, even some of the team Twitter accounts were tweeting out guys that weren't actually even on the team. Like the social media accounts didn't know that Quincy Adebayo or whatever didn't even report to camp. And they're like, he's in our starting lineup. It was just it's a disaster.
Wow. Yeah. And like from my style, that's like the worst possible thing. Like I'm not going to be just hovering around Twitter, figuring out if that guy's actually in it or not. Like I would have to, but like I'd be having a bunch of the guy who was supposed to be projected really high, and I wouldn't know he's not playing. So I don't think I'm going to go, especially with only 25 up top. They'd have to go back to at least 50. And after that debacle, maybe I think it could still get back to 50 if they don't screw it up again, and maybe it picks up a little steam. But they definitely screwed the pooch after that first week.
And to me, that's why it's unfortunate that they didn't. Sorry, I just started pressing. I have my Mac laptop up here and accidentally pressed something, and the music started playing. God damn it.
You're good. I don't hear anything.
All right, I'm good now. Well, I feel like they should have given us a second crack at filling a big contest. Like they messed up. We will never. I'm sure there would have been slight overlay, but I don't think it would have been too egregious. And then it's like, what? You probably throttle it down to 50K up top or something. But it's like, don't punish the prize pool before even getting good data on what the field is willing to fill.
But I'm assuming they also went conservative because they just thought there'd be a lot of blowback and just people not registering. Right. So like, let's just do it really low. Let's see if they still want to do it. People might hate. I bet they considered just not doing it.
Right.
Just ending it all. So 25 with they're trying, they try, hopefully it fills really fast. Then maybe they go back to 50. Who knows?
I am surprised though that I guess with your setup, I feel like I guess it is slightly different settings than the traditional like DraftKings NFL contest. Would it be a ton of work for your Sims to be able to set something up for this format?
No, I guess. Well, no, I don't think it would be that difficult because it's like it's showdown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry. It's not showdown. Well, they are going to do showdown, which is the same format, but their classic slate, it has different positions. You only have to start one running back instead of two, and then there's 2 flex instead of 3 total wide receivers.
Then that would be a problem. That would be a problem. And also my NFL Sims play-by-play. So that wouldn't work either. So showdown, but not yet. I wouldn't redo it all for that. I would do it if like it was some sort of NASCAR esport NASCAR edge or something where like we all like it's just you just go to FC pumping whatever the edge is and then enter. Like I would do something like that, but I doubt the edge is that. Not for me anyways. Maybe for the guys who really know who's playing.
Well, what was your threshold when you stopped playing hockey? Like what prize do you need up top consistently to justify investing time into it?
That was more I just couldn't handle the workload of NBA, MLB, and hockey all playing at the same time or whatever is going, like there'd be like 3 sports going at the same time, all with 6 o'clock locks. And I just couldn't do it anymore because like as this got more involved and like the games got harder and you have to put more time and effort into it. Like it's just like one of these has got to go and it's clearly going to be hockey. And I think the prize pools kind of were just naturally dropping. That's happened in soccer too. I don't know if you've ever looked at those. Those have gone down over the last like 5 years a little bit. I only played a little bit of soccer. But yeah, those sports have gone down. So it's tough to tell in the main sports because they go so top heavy now. MMA has increased. I think we could say that without a doubt. Because the top prize pools for MMA were not 100K every weekend. And now it's a minimum 100K. But with NBA and MLB, like they seem about the same as the last few years. But when you're going 100K to first, 20K to second, that can be kind of deceiving. I don't know what the total amount of entries is like compared over time. I wonder if anyone's got that data. Like not anymore. It was a lot easier back in the day, Travis. You could just hockey, you just stack, throw some randomness on if you have decent projections, and I would make my own. And it wasn't super complicated. It was just some basic projections. I would use like that Tom Tango's method for baseball, but just apply it to hockey. It wasn't very complicated. And that's better than what anyone else is doing. There was like barely any hockey projections at all. So just do that.
Where do you think, like when you mentioned that some of these prize pools are getting smaller, like how much of the onus do you put on DraftKings to do, whether that's better marketing or better featuring these contests, drumming up interest? How much is it on them, or how much do you think it's just on DFS players to show the demand by filling the existing contests?
That's a good question. I mean, it's tough because the hockey seems like, and I'm not paying a ton of attention to hockey, but I follow a lot of the guys play hockey, on Twitter. And so I see their tweets and it seems like it fills up more. They should add a little risk to it. You know what would be the best solution there is for them to lobby to change the law that it doesn't have to be a set amount of entries before lock and just make it like
auto adjusts.
Just like poker was. So you say $100,000 prize pool, but if a bunch of people sign up, so it's still a guaranteed prize pool, but if more people sign up, we will add on top to the prize pool. Like it'll be 125 to first, or for some reason it's a day off of work for a bunch of people. They didn't realize it. It's 200,000 up top or something. That would just solve it all for them. And then they could lower the guaranteed prize pool if they wanted. And then let demand solve itself. That would be the best.
Yeah, no, that would solve every problem and allow the market to truly decide what every contest is. And then they just have on the back end what their auto sizing for payout structures based on the entry fee and how many people are in it. And it just spits it out at lock.
Solved. And it makes that's like, this is what you get, these people who know nothing about the industry regulating the industry, and then you get results like this where they probably think, well, we don't want people to get ripped off, so we want to know exactly X before they enter, right? And it's like, yeah, but that's worse than the other solution, like, which is let it go as big as it gets and let people decide for themselves, and that would solve itself.
So how realistic would it be for that to happen, and how big of a hurdle would that be from a regulatory standpoint to get that kind of flexibility on it?
It's the federal law. It's the law that was the I think it was in the UIEGA,
yeah,
for that screwed poker that started all these. What was the Taylor's original one? Draft Day. Taylor Katie.
Draft Street.
Draft. No, he didn't have that one. Draft. I think it was Draft Day or something like that. That's what started all those guys, and they read that legislation and said, "Oh, this is legal now." And that was so I'm pretty sure it's in there.
Yeah.
So if we can figure out how to get it past the federal level, then it would apply to all the other states.
Yeah.
Unless your state law like auto copied, which is possible. That's what we kind of do, just copy other people's lists. If they auto copied, that language from the federal law, then you'd have to do it at both the federal and state law level.
You would think, again, and yeah, it probably would be a mess, but I mean, DraftKings would love if that wasn't the case, right? You think about the amount of like planning that they have to do to size these contests, and whereas they could literally just spray and pray and put whatever out there, and then it's no big deal if shit doesn't fill.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you guarantee something, just like the poker sites, they would still have to pay out whatever that guaranteed price stated. But if they go under, they're screwed. But you can just be more conservative with that guarantee and then let the cards fall where they may. I mean, this is a benefit. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is a benefit of like capturing a market like this where it's so heavily regulated. It's easier. Eventually people will just forget about it because there's nothing you can do. Nobody can enter the market. It's easier for them to talk to the lobbyists and be like, and have their lobbyists talk to the legislators rather, and be like, let's make this our priority this year to get rid of this piece of the law. And they have this relationship. It'll go on, 10 years now, let's say, that up, and no one really pays attention to it anymore, and they can just kind of get it passed quietly. So that's definitely possible. I imagine they're looking at it.
Andrew, what a heel turn for Brian. I actually did want to circle back to something because I let this slip too, and I meant to follow up on this. SLM Cardi wants you to elaborate on the Tom Tango method. I didn't know what that was referencing either.
Yeah, he's a baseball writer. His Twitter is Tango Tiger, I think. And he either wrote articles or a book. I can't remember. This is a while ago. It's really simple. It's just a weighted average of the last X years, depending on the sport. And I think it's like divided by some like the baseline, the league average or something like that. It's really simple. So like it's predicting it was like his super simple method that at the time no projection system could beat, like within reason. So like people would come up with all these super creative and intricate MLB models, and he would just do this weighted 3-year average, and it'd be about the same historically and predictively. Now, I don't think that's necessarily true anymore, but the principles apply to hockey's, very similar in that matter for the Tom Tango method. I mean, I think that's what he called it, but if you just Google that, you'll find it. It's not like a secret or anything. kind of just basic sabermetric stuff back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I just pulled up like a quick little blog on it. It looks slightly, this description, a little more dense than for me to read it on the show. But there you go. That's your reading. I'll put this blog post that I just found in the chat if you want to look at the Tango method of regression.
Tom Tango, and then there's another guy who was popular then. I think his name was like Phil Barnbaum, something like that. He has some interesting blog posts and stuff. Oh, that's him. Birnbaum. There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got his Tom Tango method SEO down tight. That's the first post that comes up when you search that.
So if you just pay, for I'm guessing if you just pay for someone's Osmos, whatever hockey numbers, it's going to beat the Tom Tango method at this point. So
yeah, I mean, there's stuff like that too with now we're in NFL draft season, and I know, I'm in these, dynasty football leagues and stuff, and everyone looks at their own metrics and data and combine and college production. But if you just use the proxy for the NFL draft as like draft capital and like what order did the NFL draft these guys, that still is almost the best heuristic for predicting how well they're going to do from a fantasy perspective.
I bet.
Although there is, I think, a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that, where it's like teams use first round draft capital. They want to save face. They want their first round picks to hit. They'll give them more opportunities than, say, a sixth round pick. He's really going to have to prove himself to get opportunities. Whereas I even remember Melvin Gordon. You remember he was a first round pick to the Chargers, and he was shitty for like a couple years. They just kept going to him because, hey, he's our first round pick.
That happens a lot with running backs over the years, especially with some of these coaches. I was looking at that coach who released the guy because of the Pizzagate thing, but who knows if that's accurate. And then there was like him giving like a speech or a pep talk or something, and it's like that is exactly who, like, honestly, I didn't even listen to it that closely, but like that type of person is like exactly who I wouldn't want in my organization. Like I would want like a drone who would just listen to the game theory, and we would just tell him it's like this play, and he just calls it. That's it. All his job is to manage like the personalities, make sure no one gets upset.
Yeah. For people who aren't familiar to what Brian's referencing, there was a clip that went around De'Veon Smith, who was a running back in the league, and he reportedly got cut because of he was being disrespectful to one of their food services employees because all they had was chicken salad. And he said, "I won't eat this. I'm eating pizza." And apparently the team claims there were other issues, although De'Veon Smith has now gone on Twitter and been like, "What other issues? I have no clue what you're talking about." Just like an extremely bad look for the league and this coach. But yeah, I mean, what a clown show. It's like he was, I think, again, it's a low bar in this league, but one of the more talented running backs, I think, was the conventional wisdom. It's like you're kicking him off the team because he ate a pizza instead of chicken salad. I mean, what the fuck are we doing?
I was thinking about baseball coaches. But like then the just to comment on that comment really quick, then the team said that he's like had a bunch of behavioral issues or something, and it had nothing to do with the pizza. But whatever. With like doing like a GTO coaching strategy, I wonder if any teams have done this. And like baseball seems like the easiest to implement because it's more like paper, rock, scissors, right? And you just like not even the pitcher and catcher know what's coming next until it's run through the computer, and of course you have to, you have specifics for the hitter can't hit certain spots and stuff like that. But it seems like why even think about that?
Right.
Just let
it all on.
Yeah. And then whatever's legal for the catcher, obviously you could just give him signs from the dugout. Yeah. But or like a buzzer, just do the Houston Astros cheating scandal or whatever. I'm assuming if you clear that with the league, and they probably do it. But yeah, something like that. Like you could do it. I'm assuming you could do it in football, but although it would be a lot more complicated, just run
many more variables. Yeah.
There's so many more variables, but something like that. I wonder if anyone, that seems like a good route to look at if I was team.
Well, basically you're saying is you take, a poker GTO solver element to calling even specific pitches and just like letting them dictate every single type of play situation.
Yep. Yeah. And you can make it smart, like I said, where some like let's say the player can't hit sliders or something. Like obviously if the solver would say just throw a slider every time, but if it doesn't, you need to switch it up, just have the computer pick it. I mean, I guess they would never like I hate coaches, but they would be like, well, what if he's not feeling it that day? What if he's not feeling the curveball that day? Like you gotta know your players, that type of crap. I would just instantly fire that guy and then hire in someone who would just do what I say. But
yeah, or maybe you have an expansion team and they're called like the robots or something, and this is the team that gets to do the GTO.
That would have been better than the Guardians.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was a team name.
Guys, we know that the league would never let this happen. This is just pie in the sky fun.
But I'm sure it really is that. I'm sure you could probably figure out something.
Wow,
you could
a dictatorship. You've gotten punned twice, because earlier today when I was letting the chat know that we got crossed on our times, they said they got brick rolled, and now we have a bricktatorship. Who knew your name was so punnable?
Bricktatorship sounds pretty good, actually.
Oh, Mr. Libertarian likes the sound of bricktatorship.
Well, that's for you guys, not for me. If I was a ruler, that's different.
That actually reminds me, though, we should touch on the Elon Musk stuff that was happening in the thick of last week when we were taking the show off. What are the brick takes on Elon's attempt to buy Twitter?
I mean, World War III. I tweeted about this already. There's just no other way around it. I mean, how can you allow people to talk freely on a platform like that? It's just abhorrent. Very scary. How about you? What do you think?
Well, I guess the real question is, how much of this do you think driven by Elon Musk's, altruistic, he just wants this platform to be free, versus his own personal incentives and how important and valuable the Twitter platform is to him? Or would you say there doesn't need to be a distinction between those two things?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it like that. How could you? We're guessing. Obviously, we have no idea.
Of course,
what's in the man's mind. I don't know how much that would help Tesla and Starlink and stuff like that. Maybe, like you're saying, like he could kind of control the narrative of Twitter and boost his own signal and stuff like that.
Well, you could push it to the extreme of thought experiments of, what if Elon pins his own tweet to the top of your feed? And when you log in, you have to see his specific tweet. That's on the more like Machiavellian side of the scale. But I was just thinking more in general of, Twitter is very valuable to him as a platform in the same way it was to like Donald Trump, being able to communicate his ideas and thoughts to people and from a monetary sense for his businesses. And so if he risks getting banned because he says something that breaks the TOCs, that would legitimately hurt his bottom line for what he's able to do. And I'm just wondering how much of it is he's just like, hey, this might be the cheapest way if I actually calculate the EV of me getting banned from Twitter to just buy it.
Maybe. Trump made me think there when you mentioned him. I would guess, leaving politics out of it, just business wise, Trump is worth more to Twitter than Twitter was worth to Trump. Leaving politics aside, getting elected, obviously that would help him. But for his hotels and stuff and all his businesses, I doubt him being on Twitter helped them. But they sure as shit it helped Twitter, having one of the most popular people freely create content on your site every day. I'm sure they got tons of engagement. I'm pretty sure the stock went up and then went immediately down after they banned him by quite a bit. I could be wrong. I didn't actually look at that. But yeah, I would say Twitter, Trump benefited Twitter more than Twitter benefited his businesses, leaving politics aside. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which which makes it pretty strange that a company that has a fiduciary responsibility to ban him, leaving aside politics. So I think that'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out with them getting sued, or now that they're like I don't know if you saw the prince, the Saudi prince, his holdings, they bought more stock, so they have more than Elon now, and they say they don't want him on the board.
Okay.
So like Saudi Arabia has a bigger say on Twitter than like a lot of people too. They're like, I don't like that billionaires are throwing around their money and hurting our democracy. But like those people, a lot of them, they didn't say shit when Bezos bought the Washington Post. They didn't say a damn thing when Bill Gates started MSNBC.
Right.
And there's others too. I mean, who else am I forgetting? But like that time, we had one in here in Illinois, and when Governor Rauner ran for election, he's not the governor anymore. He had so much stake, he had to sell his Chicago Tribune shares because he had so much stake in the Tribune, which is obviously a big paper around here. Shit happens all the time. I think it's mainly I think a lot of these like journalists and stuff don't want Elon owning it. they don't. I think that's a big part of it.
Do you think, I know how a lot of times when we've talked about crypto stuff and you pointing out legitimate concerns about things where the music could stop for crypto because of regulation, or at least, crater its value. Do you buy into some of the stuff that Twitter actually could be on a slippery slope with free speech, where you could all of a sudden end up on the wrong side of it? Like, oh yeah, you get rid of Trump and I don't like him, so that's fine that he's not on the platform anymore. But then whatever the rules are, they come for other people. Is that a legitimate concern for you? You think with platforms like Twitter?
For me personally, or just that in general? For me, probably not. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they could easily. I think. Like you could easily get banned today, you or me or anybody, because you don't. There's no words. No words. You shouldn't say, and if you say them on Twitter, you're gonna get flagged and banned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I think it's easy to get banned. You just don't say that stuff. Is the slippery slope going to be so dramatic that, if you say something like, I think Twitter should sell to Elon or something like that, then they ban you just for saying that? Right. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it'll get that bad, but like I think it's already co-opted, like by like the Silicon Valley culture.
Right.
I think it's already there, and I think they do ban some lefties, like some extreme lefties, but I would say it's more disproportionate to the right. I mean, I think they should just allow all these people, besides like the clear cases of like credible threats of violence, child pornography, et cetera, things like that, those obvious things. And they don't crack down proportionately. There's like guys who have fake brick accounts, and they try to sell lineups to people.
Yeah.
And DraftKings I contacted them, DraftKings contacted them, and they don't do shit. They don't care. You know what I mean? So like they definitely don't care. It's not like I'm a big account, but there's other people I heard their podcast saying the same thing. They have like millions of followers. People impersonate them all the time. Like Elon's got hundreds of them, right?
Yeah.
So they like definitely pick and choose how they want to spend their bandwidth on what to police. Like they do have those things on there, like child pornography and shit. Like apparently that shit's on there. So like to kick off a QAnon person and leave that stuff up there, I think the trade-offs of that are not worth it. Like I think they should just leave most of it up. And like I said about like racists in real life, like you want them to show their colors because then you can act accordingly. Like you don't want them hiding,
Right.
and then they're your boss, and they try to fuck you here, or they fuck a customer, because they don't like their type or whatever. So like the more out in public they could be, the better. If you like push them into the shadows, they're not going away. It's not like if you tell someone you're a racist asshole, they're gonna be like, oh shit, I didn't think of it that way. Thank you for telling me. I am no longer that way. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't work. It just makes them angry or pushes them into different platforms and shit like that. So,
and it's hard it's probably hard for these sites too to manage it. I mean, weren't there the stories of Facebook? Like, at first they were trying to do it manually, people like handling that stuff. And then they went to a more like automated system. But I mean, when you're the volume of, I don't know what it would be, support tickets or whatever, like on that stuff must be just gargantuan.
Twitter switched to this like self-report type of system. But like I said, if you do it with these lineup scammers, they never get banned. So, but you're right. There's only so much bandwidth they could do. My predict, like if he does get it, like if you look at the markets and the polling, the Democrats are heavily favored to lose in the midterms in November. Mm-hmm. So like it would almost be better for him to get it after the November, because then he could say, I had no effect on trying to put, like, let's assume he is trying to make it more of a free speech platform. Let's just assume that's true. He could then say, look, you got your ass kicked with all the censorship. Let's open it up and see what shedding some light and letting all the voices be heard can do, because you just got smoked. And if he gets it beforehand, they're going to blame him. They're already 4-1 underdogs to lose the House and I don't know what is in the Senate, but it's pretty good too. So they'll blame it on him if he gets it early. What's your take on? Do you even give a shit?
No, I mean I give a shit. I mean, my take on which part of that specifically?
Like Elon buying it. Do you care if he buys it? Do you want him to buy it?
I think in general, I like the idea of having someone who owns or is running Twitter where their incentives are aligned with the users in a way that it doesn't seem like the board currently is necessarily. Mm-hmm. And I like the idea that, Elon is an actual power user of the platform. I feel like he understands it. And I think you could argue that maybe the pendulum has swung too far in that direction. And maybe he would be a good presence to balance it out. On the other hand, Elon is also an egotistical, narcissist who could potentially, on a whim, he also loves to troll. And you could worry about, the keys to the castle in the hands of someone like that. So I could see issues in that way as well.
Yeah. I mean, if he takes it private, anything's possible. It'd be interesting if the board, they could put like somebody from Texas on there, just like maybe move the headquarters to a different location or something like that. I wonder if that's what he's planning, if he does get a hold of it. I wonder if is there any odds out there? I'm guessing at this point he's a pretty big dog to get it.
Yeah, I think so. And there was stuff too where it seemed like, now the Twitter board, like they're in a spot too where they can now go take his offer and shop it around, right? Like if they can get his offer matched, they'll probably gladly go with any other group that they could get. The problem is like, who would it be? I was listening to the All In podcast guys, and they were talking about maybe it is like a legacy media or big tech giant like a Disney or a Google that would be highly incentivized to purchase Twitter. I mean, you think of the use cases for a company like that, they would definitely have reasons to want to meddle with Twitter.
I mean, if Elon's going to buy it, because at this point, those kind of corporations, Twitter already does their bidding, basically. I mean, there is an issue too with the federal government, because they've said this publicly, that they like give a list to Twitter of people who they think are dangerous, and then they go and ban them. So like Elon's going to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Take your list and shove it up your ass.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of powerful interests that do not want him to have it. Here's another interesting thing about this is these fucking, this is a perfect example of how they try to use your morals against you, right? Like, and so in this case, the leftists would be, oh, you don't like Twitter banning Tommy G? Well, go start your own platform, right? It's a free market. They're a private business. They could do whatever they want. DraftKings can do whatever they want. It's a private business, right? And it's like, okay, Elon wants to buy them. No, we have to stop them.
Exactly. It completely flipped.
Oh yeah. But the Republicans do the same thing. They did the same thing because they want that Section 230 shit, right, gone, so they could sue Twitter and say like, no, you can't ban these people. You're a publisher, right? But then Elon wants to buy it, and they're like, oh, Section 230 what? No, we don't need that anymore. We don't need that, right? They're both fucking full of shit.
Ryan says, happy holidays. How are you celebrating 420, Brian?
Oh my God. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
You didn't? Wow. You didn't know it was a national holiday?
I did, because I saw Underdog's 420 6969 tweet.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, they have some
a prop
ball or something. It's 420 on there, 6969 to win first.
Do you smoke weed, Brian?
No, not really.
No.
I'm not opposed to it. I have when I was younger.
Yeah. Let's see. It's out, bro. Monkeys out of the bottle. 420 entry, 69 to first. There you go. The Whoa Dude Wednesday. I love that name. We had in college, there was this kid on my floor. He was a year younger than me. Just the most quintessential, stereotypical, like SoCal guy. Mm-hmm. His name was Dan, and we called him Dude Bro Dan. Like one of the all-time greatest nicknames. Whoa Dude Wednesday and Dude Bro Dan.
Those guys are always great.
Yeah.
There's never any problems. They're just chill.
Yeah. Guys, see, here's my thing about I smoke before bed. It's what relaxes me. If I smoke in the middle of the day, I will eat multiple pizzas. I will go full Devion Smith and just I get incontrollable munchies, like to caricature level, like exaggeration. Like think of a movie or whatever of some stoner with the munchies. That's me with weed. And so as much as I like smoking weed, I really have to time it perfectly right before I go to bed. Otherwise it's a disaster.
And your wife is a chef too, right?
She's a good cook. Yes.
Yeah. Well, or I know you said she's really into like this was last year, I think, sweets or whatever. Like,
yeah. Like right now I have a bunch of balls of cookie dough in our fridge where it's like, if I smoke, I'm just like eating 8 different balls of cookie dough. Like that just would happen immediately. I'm like, I do like the stoner thing of like once every 6 months, I'm like, Google shit like how to avoid the munchies, man. Or is there a strain of THC that doesn't give you the munchies?
that strain stuff is interesting. Like, this one's chill. This one's this.
Yeah.
Do you buy into those?
Oh, I do. The indicas for at night, just because they're supposed to be more of a body high, man, less of a heady high. But I can tell the difference between a sativa indica, but yes, I have zero chance of separating out various strains for you.
Of course, the Twitch user starts chiming in as soon as we start talking about weed.
Oh, the Twitch loves it. I could tell Ryan's high today right now. I could tell. It's kind of like a blessing in disguise because I think if I didn't get the munchies, I do think I would be like kind of perma-stone. I would just probably enjoy smoking throughout the day. I mean, I enjoy it, but it just having that as the consequence keeps it.
If I didn't get a hangover, I would drink like 4 days a week, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Well, I get besides the calories too. Like if there wasn't a calorie thing and the hangover specifically.
Yeah.
As soon as my responsibilities are over.
What would you rather have? desserts don't have calories for you, so you can just eat as much of that, or you can drink as much as you want without a hangover.
I gotta answer that.
Really?
Before. Oh yeah, easily. Wait, no, because of hangovers. I'm not a big sweets guy, so that's not that hard for me.
I'm not a big sweets guy either, unless I have the munchies.
But like I drink like twice a month, maybe. It's pretty rare. It's pretty rare nowadays. I mean, my 20s,
Yeah.
Until like 2 weeks ago, no. But like 20s, 30s, I would. I could have used the lower calories for sure.
Yeah. It's funny how our bodies have these built-in prevention mechanisms to keep us from becoming alcoholic stoners.
It's just for some people though. They don't have those.
Yeah. Wow.
I guess they're called drug addicts.
Willie K, I'm a big fan of Greek desserts.
That's a strange thing to comment on a YouTube
yeah.
But
yeah, because baklava, I mean that's
the only one I can think of.
That's the only one I can think of. What other Greek desserts are there, Willie?
I don't know. Something in flames, I'm guessing.
I guess. I actually got a Greek plate for dinner last night, but I did not get a dessert with it. I should have gotten some baklava. Apparently I missed the boat.
The Middle Eastern food on the north side's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a place my go-to place I haven't had in a while, making me hungry.
I know. Yeah, I'm getting hungry too. I think it's about time to power this down. We
started late anyway, so
yeah. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and we mentioned it earlier. Maybe we'll find some other shows to flex to an MMA live hang if we have a really good card.
Let's do it.
All right. Anything else going on with you, Brian? Any other updates on the app, the HUD ownership?
No, I should have. Should be in the like the actual downloadable like Mozilla stores and stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon if they don't block it. And other than that, I have an update coming like tomorrow or the day after. I don't know what they do. Like they're so slow and they respond to me like I'm like, which part are you updating? I don't even know anymore. So yeah. But yeah, that should be coming in the next few days. I didn't do ownership on the site because the Zurich Classic, the PGA is like the team. It's the team's the team event, so it would like kind of screw everything up. But I put some in my Discord, like a screenshot of like some rough estimates. But if you really want to look at something, I think that's it, right? A lot of sports. NBA playoffs, MLB's back,
USFL, F1, Brian,
USFL,
all your favorites. It's
never stops.
That's right. All right, guys, appreciate you hanging out. The pod will be up later if you'd prefer to listen in audio form. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Peace.